Good afternoon, vinyl community. Aris here with another video. This one's sort of alternative 80s, and when I say alternative, I don't really mean anything particularly radical or left field, but alternative to what was in the pop charts at the time, which were certainly in the UK completely sewn up by the BBC and Top of the Pops, who could pretty much control whatever got in the charts. So whenever anything just a tiny bit left field came through, normally that had been originally played on the John Peel show, it was always felt like a bit of a victory. Although looking back, none of these records are particularly radical, but yeah, in the context of the time, in a world ran by Steve Winwood and Phil Collins and Bono, these did seem slightly alternative. So jump straight in with the monster, the Smiths, The Queen is Dead. I remember when this came out, I was just slightly disappointed with the production, because again, I can't stand Stephen Street's production, and to sort of illustrate the point, if you go onto YouTube, well, the live version of The Queen is Dead on the album Rank, it just absolutely blows us out of the water. And if you listen to Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others, the final track on here, I've always put that down as a clunker. If you go on YouTube and look at the live version of the Smiths doing Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others, it's absolutely phenomenal. I'd actually put it top 5 Johnny Marr moment of all time, which I never thought in all the years of listening to this until I saw that live version. The production's just too, I don't know, it's too mainstreamy, and I just don't like the production. And I've never liked Stephen Street's production particularly. He was all right with Blur actually. Park Life's not bad, but yeah, but a great record. I think they got the track listing wrong as well. You know, I Know It's Over, what a phenomenal song, but sticking it at number 3 kind of killed the vibe a bit. And then There Was a Light That Never Goes Out should have been the last track rather than Some Girls. But yeah, the Smiths' Queen is Dead. This is my 86 copy, which is still holding up nicely, and it's got the super iconic Salford's Lads Club sleeve. I went on a Smiths tour after they split up of Landmarks, and it was probably the worst experience of my life. 48 virgins on a coach, and we posed outside Salford's Lads Club and almost got beaten up by a load of 9-year-olds. And I also find it ironic that the Smiths are known as miserable, where they're the only band that I think have written about 100 fantastically funny lines, and there's a few on here. And I don't understand, why don't people call like U2 miserable? Or, you know, when's Bono written something funny? I don't really get it. And the only funny thing I've heard, but is it true? I remember someone said that Bono was doing a charity gig once, and he announced from the stage, you know, every time I click my fingers, a child in Africa dies, and someone in the audience yelled, "Well, stop doing it then." I would love to know if that's true or not, but yeah, I love the Smiths. Queen is Dead. Next up, the Soul Mining. This is a hot record right now. I don't know if it's never been reissued, but when I'm in record shops, so many people ask if there's any this is a great record. There's no duff tracks on this, and I don't know, something like Giant is so fantastic. I've been waiting for tomorrow. It's all good. I was trying to think of a band that maybe had been influenced by that came since, and I can't really think of any. And that's not to disparage but I'm trying to think who have they influenced, and I don't know. I'll keep thinking about that. But great record, great sleeve. Next up, this record had a huge impact on my life. Jesus and Mary Chain, Psycho Candy. I kind of forgot, I just played it this morning, I forgot how noisy it is, and I think what's quite unique about this is a lot of bands like who they would have been influenced by, like Velvet Underground, the Stooges, they kind of harnessed noise to sort of fit in with the record, whereas the Jesus and Mary Chain would play a song where, and they were influenced sort of by the Ramones and the Beach Boys, Phil Spector, Shangri-La's, Ronettes. They'd play a song in that kind of style, but they wouldn't sort of harness the noise. They just seemed to hit a button on the mixing desk called massive noise, and just noise would absolutely rush over it. I mean, if you listen to You Trip Me Up, You Trip Me Up is just actually quite hard to listen to. It's just phenomenally noisy, and yeah, it always fascinated me why I was attracted to that, because really it's quite unpleasant. It may have been my years of growing up next to Heathrow Airport in London, hearing aeroplanes rush over from about 100 feet ahead. Maybe there's some psychological repressed dreams coming back or something. But yeah, Psycho Candy by the Jesus and Mary Chain. To be honest, I don't ever really need to hear this record again. It's just too it's too wrapped up in my teens, but it is a fantastic record and a fantastic sleeve as well. I think this is a still from a video they did. I can't remember which one. Next up, the Teardrop Explodes Kilimanjaro. There you go, Zebra. I don't just throw these videos together. If you were to see me on a Saturday night, you might think that's a drunk guy on a sofa listening to music, but actually that's quite detailed research for these videos. About 40 hours research and planning goes into each of these, and I think there's the proof right there. Great album. And again, the production maybe kills it a little bit because their earlier stuff on Zoo was a little bit more psychedelic, but this has got a lot of the stuff that on the Zoo singles they brought up. I mean, my favourite is the obvious one, Reward, which I absolutely love. Reward. But this is a great album. I mean, I really recommend this, and you can still pick this up pretty cheap, £6, £8 if you can find it. Fantastic album, and obviously Julian Cope, bit of a genius as well. Next up, New Order's Brotherhood. Absolutely, have I got the right side? Yeah, I don't know what's, is that side. Fantastic Peter Saville sleeve. I love this. Is probably my favourite New Order sleeve. I love it. And Peter Saville's a genius. Factory Records were geniuses. I could probably write an essay about how I think Factory Records kind of invented modern Britain in a way. The look of it, you know, they first invented like the minimal bar when they had the dry bar, which you see on every high street now. They kind of brought acid house to Britain by opening the Hacienda, and they had some of the greatest groups that were so influential. Brotherhood is okay. As I've said on another video, I never thought New Order totally nailed an album until Technique, although a lot of people will say Power, Corruption and Lies is awesome. I think the problem, this exemplifies the problem a little bit, I think, because it's got one of their greatest songs, and maybe one of the greatest songs ever, Bizarre Love Triangle, which has become really popular because so many kids do like acoustic cover versions of that. I see it on YouTube. But again, on here, it's like a 3-minute version, and it's or 4-minute version, and really, Bizarre Love Triangle, you've got to hear it in the full 10-minute version to get the full sort of pleasure of it. It's an absolutely fantastic song. But this is kind of split between their electronic stuff and their more Peter Hook guitar-y stuff. It's a pretty decent record. Not one, again, I play a great deal now, but yeah, I really love it, and I love A New Order. Next up, the phenomenal Squirrel and G-Man 24-Hour Party People. Plastic Face, Can't Smile White Out by Happy Mondays. This is their debut album, which got a bit of a second wind when they became massive in England in 1990. This got reissued. This is probably the 1990 reissue I got here. £6.49 I paid for it, wherever I bought this. It is a fantastic album. John Cale of the Velvet Underground produced it. And I think he had a few issues with the band because John Cale was coming off drugs and the Happy Mondays were very much into drugs. And apparently there was quite a lot of static between the two. It's a hard to describe album, but it's got, in my opinion, one of the great underrated guitarists of all time, Mark Day. Absolute genius, can turn his hand to anything. He can turn his hand to like a Johnny Marr jangle, he can turn his hand to funk. He can pretty much do it all. I mean, my favourite track on here is Olive Oil, which is absolutely superb, and it's got one of the great guitar lines. It's a brilliant album, this. Maybe not as good as Bummed. Certainly better than Thrills, Pills and Bellyaches, which I never liked, to be honest. I pretty much, it sounds so dated, but this is a great album. Happy Mondays. Squirrel and G-Man, 24-Hour Party People, Plastic Face, Can't Smile White Out. Awesome. Next up, The Wedding Present, George Best. What a fantastic album. It was when the Smiths split, the Weekly Music Press panicked because they thought we're going to lose all our readers, because really they'd survived on showing the Smiths in each issue. And The Wedding Present was sort of brought forward, or sort of deigned to be the new Smiths. It didn't really happen, although they did become pretty big. And this is a great album. It doesn't sound anything like the Smiths. It was kind of like a post-punk. They sounded more like the early Scottish bands like Joseph Kay, Orange Juice. They had that sort of really tight, high guitar, really quickly strummed. But this is a great record. I remember buying it when I was 16, and I must have listened to this a million times. I had it on cassette. Prefer the cassette version because it's got the cover version of Nowhere Fast by Girls at Our Best, which I think is my favourite wedding present song, and I love it. But this is fantastic. And how they got George, because George Best actually turned up for some of the promotional photos, which, when you consider that, you could pretty much argue that George Best is one of the greatest footballers ever to come out of the United Kingdom. In fact, I think you would say he's the best. For him to volunteer to be involved in the marketing of a band that weren't even going to get in the top 50 on an independent record label does seem slightly odd. It would be like an American indie band getting Dan Marino to promote their record. But yeah, it's a great record. Last up, The Go-Between, Spring Hill Fair. I think this is their 5th album. Again, I said it on another video, the band that never broke through, probably because they never really wrote a song that was going to appeal to the radio until Streets of Our Town, but by then it was too late, they were splitting up. This is a great album, a little bit overproduced. It's got fantastic songs on it. I think it's seen as the bit of the runt of the litter sometimes, but Bachelor Kisses, Draining the Pool for You, great songs, great band. They never broke through, but yeah, I love it. Anyway, that's some of my favourite sort of alternative albums of the 80s, and yeah, I'll be doing some more videos soon. Thanks a lot. Cheers.